But that concludes the news part. Now let's get into the Q&A and we'll go from there. Let's see. We're really all just, crypto's the only one who listen to me. Hilarious. It's a Q&A time. Yes, golfer, it's crypto. It's Q&A time. So ask your questions. Pepe says 45K to 70K sounds reasonable. You know, it sounds reasonable, like we talked about before, but so was 100K. And I took a look at the fractals from the last different cycles that we went through, and we just extrapolated it across time. And for me, like when I did this in 2020, I'm like, yeah, Bitcoin should definitely, actually, I thought Bitcoin would hit 150K first. Wasn't even close. Didn't even have half that, you know? And then I thought, well, I'll just revise it to 100K. It should hit 100K. I thought it was a lock. Didn't happen. And I don't know if it was just because it didn't come into it or if it was because of the shenanigans that were going on behind the scenes with like Three Arrows Capital and FTX and Celsius and all the tomfoolery that we're doing, and it just kind of screwed everything up. Not for sure. Not for sure. Some people would disagree with me. They'd say, no, because like with FTX, there was so much leverage. But I was like, yeah, there's a bunch of leverage. But in fact, the fact was they were supposed to buy the Bitcoin. They just said they had it, and they didn't have any of it. They didn't buy any of it. So that I think would have increased price and demand. But let's see. Oh, it's a great question, Yusuf. What's your main wallet? Are you still using Ledger? I'll show you what it is. It's right here. It's Tangent. This is my wallet. This is what I use. There is a link, and that's a cold storage device. There is a link in the description of all my videos. Let me just show you. Of why let me share the screen. Hilarious. All right. Right here. Tangent cold storage wallet. Simple, secure, and inexpensive. And I compare it directly against Ledger. EAL6 Plus, what it all means. What would happen if you get your phone stolen? What would happen if the app goes crazy? What would happen if the app goes away? What would happen if the company goes away? Why there's no mnemonic phrases you have to write down? What would happen if you lose all your cards? And how many different cryptos you can actually put on it? It's a lot. So this is my main one. I still have, but don't get it twisted, I still have my Ledger, right? But just like we do diversify into crypto, because I'll be honest with you, the things we just talked about as far as with Bitcoin, I didn't make a lot of gains in the last cycle because of Bitcoin. You know, I mean, I remember buying Bitcoin at 5,000, when it was 65,000, but it wasn't like it was all my gains was in Bitcoin. A lot of them was just these altcoins. Now, the lower you go down the totem pole, the more risk it is, obviously, and a lot of these aren't going to come back. So I'm just, I spread that around. That's what it is. So I diversify, right? Same thing with all my investments. Do you think I'm all into crypto? No. We have a sports facility, Amazon business, real estate, land. It goes across. And also there's a new one I'd like to talk to some people about during the bull run is loans. It's very lucrative, let me tell you. It's not as risky as you would think, especially if for the contracts that you write up and the people that are involved and the collateral that you use. That's not for this video. But if we're going to diversify, why don't we diversify in our cold storage devices? Some people hate Ledger for what they did. I personally don't see it as a huge issue, as they offer the ability to hold your private keys across 3 different companies. Whatever. Some people don't like it. And that's why I found Tangent. And also, Tangent is going to come out in the next month, October 13th, I forgot. But I know some people will say, well, I want to write down my mnemonic phrase. I want my private key. And I want to store it on a piece of paper so I can potentially lose it. That's fine. Just kidding. I have a bunch of mnemonic phrases written down. And they're going to offer that in their next offering. So that's it. Mark Harris says, how much XRP do you hold? Not much. The majority of my portfolio, 75% roughly, is Bitcoin. The next largest is Ethereum. And then down the road, we have XRP and Chainlink and Cardano and Solana and Near and Arbitrum and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I still hold it. But not as much as I did. Shenanigans. Yeah, some say we didn't hit 100 because of FTX manipulation. I think so. Just didn't, a lot of things didn't add up. That's what it comes down to. Matt says, are you a man of Arweave? Arweave, I think, is a really good project, and I really should look into it. We actually met with the Arweave team when we were in Korean Blockchain Week for our project, and it looks pretty good, quite honestly. If you're looking for storage, in a decentralized manner, Arweave is a pretty good one. Coinbase wants your transactions. You know what Coinbase really wants is they make the most of their money on subscriptions. And it works out pretty well for me. I use Coinbase One. It's either $29 a month where there's no fees up to $10,000. Or if you just pay for the full year, it's like $19 a month. And then some people say, well, I don't use that. I just use Coinbase Pro. Sure, have at it. But since I buy crypto every single day, as far as dollar cost averaging, I don't want to go in there every day and do all those things. I got other stuff going on. And I know people would say, it's pretty lazy, Rob. Yes, you are right. But there's something about setting it, forgetting it, sticking it on Coinbase every couple of days, transferring it over to my Tangem or my Ledger, and I sleep quite easy. I know it's a bear market, but can you do a Cardano video? Yes. Cardano's going to be, Cardano was one of my biggest winners last time. And I don't see a problem with them now. I also need to get the guys back on from Cornucopias. That's a good game. I wish they would put it on a Mac, though. I got to buy a PC. I had to reach out to Rob and say, what kind of laptop should I be getting? Because I don't even know which PC. I've had a Mac for so long. Did someone say shenanigans? If you haven't seen this movie called Super Troopers, you'll love it. Mount Gox delaying again. I'm so tired of Mount Gox. Every time there's like a dip or something that's going on crazy, everybody's going to blame Mount Gox. That thing hasn't. They've been pushing that out since I was in 2017. I don't think they're ever going to get their money back. Thank you. Yusuf says, yes. Did you know that Tangent was launching Tangent? Yes, I did. And it looks awesome. They gave me a sneak peek. I like it. Now, remember, everybody, when I talk about these things, that they're all affiliate links. So if you can't stand using affiliate links, then don't use them in the description. Go right to Tangent. I don't even know what the website is. I think it's tangent.com, but don't hold me to that. Might be Tangent.io. I don't know. So good luck with that. But if you don't use the affiliate link, you don't get 10% off. Just saying. Master Blaster. If you lose your Tangent card, you lose everything. Never correct. Incorrect. So watch the video. They're going to give you 3 cards. And if you lose the first card, you got a second card as a backup. If you lose a second card, you got a third card. And if you lose a third card, why are you losing so many cards? So they're going to give you 3 cards. And then people say, but I want to write down my mnemonic phrase. Well, in version 2, you're going to be able to do that. I personally don't think that the masses that are coming are going to want to do that. Now, you or I are fine with it, right? We put it in our little booklets or we put it on our steel devices and we're fine. We have it in mnemonic phrase. But the people that are coming, this is the greatest way. They're able to literally hold your private keys in your hand, stick it right there, and you're good to go. So yeah, I think Tangent will do pretty well. And then for the diehards like us, now you get to hold your private keys. So yes. Mark says, I know more about Ripple than you do. Clearly, they'll be the biggest crypto soon. Probably, maybe, I don't know. But I got to tell you, I've been hearing that for quite a long time. I've also heard that XRP is going to $589. Now, just because I don't, this is the funny thing about our industry. Just because I don't own like the majority of my crypto is XRP, then some, very few actually, people are like, you should own everything in XRP. You should put it all in XRP because XRP is awesome and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, well, we're living in bizarro land? I mean, what happened to diversify and actually, have a little bit of a risk ability to spread things around, I mean, look, I know that it sucked for XRP holders last cycle, and you'll probably be rewarded this cycle as things move forward. But I think it does people no good when one group says you should only have this one, or the majority should only be here. Like, do you ever hear me say that you should have the majority in Bitcoin? That's ridiculous. You're probably smarter than me. Why would I tell you that? I don't know. You're half right. But thank you. I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm just getting over a sickness, so I feel pretty great. And it's a nice day. Tomorrow, got a live stream with Miss Teen Crypto. I need to give her the invite, and we go from there. If you want to see positivity, that's your girl. That's the future, actually. What are your thoughts on Filecoin? Filecoin, Arweave, they have a little bit of a different way that they do it, but one of those is going to be the majority winner. So I don't own either of them, though. But it makes sense to me. And that's actually real world utility if you think about it. Filecoin and Arweave, you can actually store things on the blockchain, be centralized. People get paid for it. That's why I like Theta, too. Yes, cornucopia. Grifter's going to grift just by Bitcoin and putting cold storage at the end. Yeah, that's probably true. See, that's just it. Like, I'm going to have a special guest on, hopefully in the next week or so. And this was a gentleman I met over in Korean Blockchain Week. And he was an investor into Bitcoin in 2011. 2011. And he was telling me about, like in those days for the conferences, it was radically different. He would talk about how, you'd have like a bunch of like bikers and people with tattoos in their faces and a lot of drug dealers. And he said, that's what it was. That's what it was back then. And he said, back then, he goes, the government really could have came along and really done some serious damage to Bitcoin and the greater crypto market moving forward. He goes, the people here, he goes, I don't know why everybody's complaining so much about things are going to zero. He goes, if it was like this back then, he goes, it'd been a no-brainer. He goes, now it just seems like it's, that's it. So I'm going to bring him on. I'll tell you his name later. And it's a guy even before Simon Dixon was investing. So it was interesting about what he had to say. Hey, Ben's chair is here. ADA is a short coin, potentially. But hey, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing about Cardano is they knocked it out of the park with staking. Staking is the smoothest experience you could possibly have. And you get to control your crypto within your wallet. And another thing is it's super fast. If you want to move any Cardano around, Cardano is extremely fast. XRP is extremely fast. Solana is extremely fast. Polkadot takes a little bit of time. Not too much, but a little bit more. Near is almost instantaneous. It's great. Look at those ones. Bitcoin and Ethereum, not the greatest. Just tell you. Keep the chat clean. Yeah, don't say the word shard. SAS Finance has got a good one. I suggest multiple wallets anyways. Why wouldn't we, right? What would happen if, like, let's just say, for example, something happens with Ledger and everything goes down. If something happened with Ledger, I think the entire crypto market would crumble. Because how many people have been talking about that forever? Cold storage device, put it on and take it off the exchanges. Now, Ledger's been around forever, and they have never been hacked. That's not true. There was a hack, but it was a third-party app that had nothing to do with the crypto or digital assets that was being held on the ledger devices, but it was the company itself where some hacker got in and took some personal data from users. But it wasn't nothing to do with the crypto itself, which I'm like, that happens to me all the time. So who cares? And if you don't think that your data is floating around there, you're crazy. It's all out there. What's the best brand of laptop? Well, I have a MacBook Pro. It's great, but it's crappy for gaming. So I have to get a PC. I don't want to, but there's one that I was really bummed out. My Pet Hooligan, which I saw on Crypto Stash first. Looks like a great game. I was really jazzed because it was on the Epic Games. It was available over there on their site, and I couldn't download it because it was only on PC. Like, damn it. So, and the reason I talk about these things is I think if you look at the actual use case, utility-wise, I think gaming could be it. But I was talking to the groups from Avagachi, and they had a good point. They go, we don't really care if it's Web 3 or Web 2. We're a Web 3 game, right? He goes, but if we just make a good game that everybody plays, then Web 3 should just accentuate it. And a lot of people aren't even going to use the Web 3. He goes, so the best thing to do is just make good games that people want to play. And if they want to come to Web 3, so much the better. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Share. Go on. Diversity. Excuse me. Yeah, Trash Panda says, Tangent Wallet is nice. Recently picked up a set of cards, but real issues with their business, though. Advertising as a Swiss company, shipping from a Hong Kong warehouse, using HK Post and UK billing. But here's the thing. How many, well, okay, let's take it back for a second. First of all, Hong Kong is not China, although is within Chinese province, right? It is one country and two systems. And how many different items have you bought from China itself, not just Hong Kong? And to say that, well, it's a Swiss company, that's where they're based out of, that's where everything else is, but they use Hong Kong to make the actual products. I have no problems with that. I wonder where Ledger is a French company. I wonder if they make ledgers in France. I don't think they actually do. To me, it really doesn't matter. And then the bigger thing is well, if it's in China, they're going to steal all my crypto, right? Look, when they ship this, and I talk about this in the actual deep dive video, when this card comes to you, you're going to get 2 or 3. You should get the 3 one. I screwed up. When you get this, the private key isn't even on this. You have to set it up yourself, and I show you how to do that on your phone, on your app. And your private key is not in the app. Your private key is stuck here. And there's a chip in there, and the reason why they have all this technology is because they work with banks previously. So with this type of thing, I'm not concerned about that part. I'm more concerned with, some of the things that Ledger has said and done, and makes me want to diversify. So yes, they have a manufacturing plant in Hong Kong, but they are based in Switzerland. And again, Ledger, I don't know if they make their Ledger devices in France themselves. Aristotle or Plato, Rob, with the anti-CBDC bill being fought out, do you think they are still inevitable? Depends on who's in power. Who voted against those CBDCs? I think it was a lot of Republicans. I don't think, but correct me, I'll just wait. Correct me in the comment section. Let's just look it up. CBDC vote. Well, Tom Emmer is a Republican, I'm pretty sure. He's in House Financial Services Committee. Hold on, is this? Yeah. I have no problems with Democrats or Republicans. I don't. I voted Democrat before. I voted Independent, and I voted Republican before. But I will say, it seems like the majority of the Republicans are okay with crypto as opposed to the Democrats. Democrats in the White House, Joe Biden doesn't like it. I can tell you that. The White House doesn't like it. Gary Gensler and the other 2 chairs on the SEC are Democrats. The other two are Republicans, one of those being Hester Pierce. So I can't tell you who it was, but it doesn't matter. I think moving forward, it really comes down to education, and we'll see. But even though, like, I know that DeSantis, the governor of Florida, came out and said that he's going to ban CBDCs. That's great, but if they approve it on the federal level, you have to integrate it. I mean, they can make it very difficult, but you know, it's a nice way to look at things, I guess. What's your take on Immutable X pump and dump last week? I don't know if that was orchestrated by Immutable X, probably not, but I think Immutable is going to do quite well. And actually, there was a great video. It was me and Johnny from, it was Johnny Hustlepedia. He does a show on Crypto Banter, and he does just Web3 gaming. And he gave his five projects that he likes and why he likes them. Immutable X was one of them, because they are a suite of game creators. So it's something to take a look at. That one, Vulcan Forge, and a couple other ones. So look in the videos. I'll try to link at the very end. But yeah, it was pretty good. And I actually bought some of those. So as far as like the pump and dump, I mean, look at everything. And look at everything across the board. Like, look at Chainlink. It's been doing pretty darn well for quite some time, and then it just drops off the planet. So right now in these bear markets, that's just how it's going to be. Near is for sure keeping really quiet. That's true. Near is a good project. Has not have as much traction. Daniel, does it still take 3 months to get the tangent? No, now it takes between 6 to 10 days, depending on where you're at in the world. So I asked them specifically, because it took me 5 weeks to get it, because they had so much demand after the Ledger issue. I got to tell you, Ledger made a big public problem with what they want to do. It'll probably work out for them later, but now it takes 7 to 10 days. Is AVAX a good value right now? Everything's a good value right now. But that doesn't mean we can't go lower. And that's the thing, because like we talked about 2024, and I wanted to kind of get away from it because, you know, on this channel, I try to delve into reality of what's going on now. But sometimes I like to take my foot off the gas and show people, you know, where the destination actually is, instead of looking at the potholes in the road. So right now there's good values, but I still see some more pain coming in the short term. And that's what we talked about in yesterday's video, where this one, where we went over, you know, taking the stress out of accumulation. And I said, if it's too much, then, you know, maybe you should wait. And the specific things to wait for was one of those being the Bitcoin halving and after, and doing lump sums. That wasn't financial advice. I'm just saying this is an option for you to do. You can do, like, take what I do, dollar cost average or dynamic dollar cost average, or you can lump sum, or you can just sit it out the whole way and just say, I'm not going to invest at all. But yeah, everything's a good value, but doesn't mean we can't go lower and get even more value, 20 to 40%. It can happen. It's happened before in the past. Maddox got a good point, but there's a caveat. ADA is the only coin that never did an airdrop, and only coin without VC capital BS and investments of pre-market so they can dump on retail people. Look, one thing is I've learned about is this. VCs in some ways, there's always an exception to the rule. Cardano was one of those, where they didn't have any VCs. They had probably some small seed investors, I'm sure, but not the majority. But VCs, if you have an adequate lockup time, because here was the problem back in ICO days, and this is what I'm always harping on, as far as like, you have to know the tokenomics and the unlocks. So like, prime example, Icon. Icon was one of those cryptos that there was very few unlocks. People bought it, they got the tokens, and as soon as it launched, they waited until it hit a certain point, dumped on people. And that has to go away. So like yesterday we talked about Optimism. Optimism did their seed round, and they have a lockup of 24 months. 24 months, it's 2 years. So 2 years for these VCs to actually be locked up, they put it into the ecosystem. They can use that for burns or buybacks where they want to do it. They can, actually use that to keep the lights on. Sorry. And for 2 years, you have an ability to do everything you want to do as far as an investor. Within 2 years, don't we see a bull run coming? So like, if you think, well, I can get dumped on, well, not really, because you got 24 months to do whatever you want to do. At some point, people have to take profits, right? So I don't see a problem. Same thing with, okay, here's another example. Same thing I just showed you with Sweatcoin. Let me show you something. Man, this is my Dan Degen sheet. Perfect. You can find this as a link in the description. These are all the cryptos that I invested into and did videos over on our second channel, Dan Degen. This is how much I got them for the purchase price. This is how much I invested. And I disclose that in all the videos. Here's how many tokens I got obtained. Here was the all-time high in the price today. This was the amount of gains at the all-time high. Where'd I go? So like for Genso Kishi, which I thought was a no-brainer, it already was in Web 2. It had already been out for years. It was on PlayStation. It was on Nintendo. It was on Apple. It was on Android. 108x. Everdome. 16x. Fame MMA. 47x. And Sweatcoin at its height was a 6x, which wasn't that great, let's be honest. However, you have to understand with this, Sweatcoin was a 1-year lockup because I was in an early round. And the price that I got it for was 0.01. That was a penny and a half, 0.014. Let me show you something. So the unlock already passed because I invested August or something like that last year. Here's the price, 0.007. I am underwater. And a lot of investors are, especially right now. So when people talk about, there's an unlock coming up, they're going to dump on you. That could be true if you know the price of what somebody paid for it. And I will just tell you this, I'm not here to dump and lose 50% of my investment. So when people start talking about like the unlocks and this is going to happen, they're going to dump on you, first you have to ask yourself, what was the actual price that they actually got it for? And would they really dump? Some people will, but those are, they can do whatever they want to. So that's just a prime example. That was a long answer for a short question. Oh, look at that. Trash Panda. Ordered Tangent on the September 5th, had it in hand on the 17th. That's pretty good. 12 days. Bitcoin's tech is like Joe Biden's memory, slow and questionable. Same thing with my memory. A little bit of fog left over. Yep, this happened. This happened to me too. My email from Ledger got hacked. Scam emails every day. Made me super cautious. Yeah, exactly. These things happen. I mean, I'm okay with my data being hacked because that's been hacked many a times, especially here in America. But the crypto being hacked is a big hit, which is why it was a big hit on Voyager and Celsius. Voyager, we got 35%. Celsius, we haven't got squat back. And yeah, here we are, just sitting around waiting for the next one. Oh well. My lesson learned. That's why I'm always talking about cold storage devices and putting up the rules. And that's it, everybody. So, everybody, thanks for stopping by. I got to take off. I'll see you. Bye.